So, you just finished your brand spanking new $60 copy of Spider-Man PS4, which sent you and your wallet into a deep depression. Or you just rewatched Homecoming and immediately rewatched Infinity War right after, which, after seeing a 16-year-old die right in front of your eyes, sent you into an even deeper, darker depression. Well, I'm here to help. While I don't have a cure, if you have some spare cash or some impressive stealing skills, I can help you try to suppress that deep, dark hole in your heart. So in no particular order, here are my Spider-Man comic recommendations. Heads up, some of these are kind of obscure, they may take a little bit to find, but you'll find them nonetheless. Let's go. Originally for my first pick, I was going to put Amazing Fantasy 15 as an objective read for Spider-Man fans since that was his first appearance. But after giving it some thought, I personally don't think that anybody has to read Spider-Man's origin at this point. It's so well known that it's kind of useless. Also, the comic hasn't aged very well. It's been 56 years since this comic was made. Obviously some shit's not going to be as good as it was back then. But if you have to read a rendition of Spider-Man's origin story for imaginary brownie points, I guess, I highly suggest the graphic novel Amazing Spider-Man Parallel Lives. It's a 1989 reimagining of Peter's origin, but the catch is, it's not just about Peter's origin. It's also about Mary Jane Watson. And that's what personally makes this graphic novel extremely interesting. We already know fucking everything about Peter's origin, but an argument that a lot of people have made towards Mary Jane is that she's ditzy and stupid. And at one point, even I thought that. I mostly blame it on the Raimi movies because in that iteration she's cruel, conceited, and oh yeah, a fucking cunt! Now yes, she is a party girl, but she only pretends to be that way to cover up the amount of shit she's been through. Mary Jane's kind of a complicated character, guys. The only thing for new readers is that it kind of jumps around the timeline like a lot. And because of that, there's a lot of references to past Spider-Man arcs like from the 70s and 60s. So if you've never read older Spider-Man books, you may be confused. But hey, maybe seeing them referenced may interest you. Who knows? Regardless, I recommend this to anybody who feels the need to read a rendition of Peter Parker's origin, also to people who hate Mary Jane and mostly blame the Raimi trilogy for their skewed perception of the character as a whole. The Amazing Spider-Man 700 miniseries. I'm mainly putting this one on here because of how short it is and mostly when it came out. There's only 5 issues and I nicknamed it the 700 miniseries because these came out when Doc Ock was still Spider-Man. And since this is about Peter, it's most likely set before the aforementioned switcheroo. And they ended up just titling the issues like 700.1 and .2 and so on and so forth. It is an extremely short series that focuses on Peter, yeah, but unlike most of the comics on this list, it focuses on Spider-Man as well. Without getting into detail, the last issue, What Would Spider-Man Do?, is fucking sad and probably the best story out of all 5 issues. The last one is very, very, very similar to Amazing Spider-Man number 248, and if you've read it or heard about it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Altogether, it makes 5 great issues of pure Spider-Man. It doesn't get much better than that. Next up is Spider-Man's Tangled Web number 11, Open All Night. Told you shit's gonna get obscure. Spider-Man's Tangled Web was an anthology series that's more based on Spider-Man's supporting cast than himself. He's in there, but Spider-Man mostly plays a cameo role. Like in the issue we're focusing on right now, Spider-Man only has 2 major appearances. The rest of the time, he's passed out in an alleyway. I'm not kidding. This issue is about Valentine's Day. Nothing much happens in it, but it's pretty fucking adorable. It's definitely a lighter read, especially compared to the other ones on the list. This comic definitely has a smaller scope, as it's just about J. Jonah Jameson and some original characters working on Valentine's Day at the Daily Bugle. And Vulture's subplot in this comic is the cutest shit I have ever read. It's a great one-off read, and I highly suggest it. Spider-Man Blue. Now this one is quite common on top Spider-Man reads just like this one, and with good reason. Spoiler alert for a 45-year-old comic, but Gwen Stacy is super dead, and this is a limited series that takes place on Valentine's Day. I have no fucking clue why that's an ongoing theme with this video. And it's about Peter recounting past events from the comics. Damn it! Events that are mostly surrounding Gwen. And I guess why I think this story is so good in my opinion is that we know Gwen is dead. But that's just what most people equate her to. Peter's super dead, sometimes cloned girlfriend. And as someone who doesn't read that era of comics too extensively, letting this character and her relationship with Peter be fleshed out in a 6-issue limited series is pretty great. And we get to see a side of Peter that I oddly like seeing. He's vulnerable and nostalgic to the days before his first love was, you know, brutally murdered by his own hand. And the ending to Spider-Man Blue, let's just say, Infinity War made me shed a tear for Peter. Spider-Man PS4 made me clap and also cry for Peter. Spider-Man Blue put me in a week-long depression. It's not called Blue for no reason, guys.
But Justice!
You cry.
Get that graphic novel and one-off shit out of here. I want to read a long, lengthy, laborious run of Spider-Man. But it can't be set in the 616 universe. There! Try to satisfy my needs.
Oh. Ultimate Spider-Man.
Wait, what?
Not only is the art and coloring absolutely fantastic and results in some genuinely amazing comic panels that are some of my favorite of all time, like I mean this, unironically, but this rendition of Spider-Man is so new and unique and different from the 616 Spider-Man that we all know. Like for instance, Peter is about 15-16 years old in this universe. Eddie Brock is Peter's childhood friend this time. Scorpion is a clone of Peter Parker in this universe. Yeah, there's a lot of clones. The Ultimate series was a completely new, alternate take of Marvel characters in this universe, at least before Marvel got desperate for events, was extremely simple to follow. The Peter Parker run only went for about 160 issues, so that's not that much if you think about it in the big scope of things. I personally think that this is my favorite comic book Spider-Man rendition, and I do think that it is worth reading all 160 issues of Peter Parker's run. So there you have it, some recommendations for Spider-Man comics, whether you're a newbie or these just flew under your radar or you just ignore them. I do suggest reading all these. I think the easiest way to get some of the single issues are Amazon. They're $2 a pop. I think Ultimate Spider-Man, you want to get those collections, and that's about it. If you have recommendations for Spider-Man comics, tell me in the comments below, or message me on the Instagram or the new Twitter, the new channel Twitter that I just got. I'll have it in the links below, or in the channel, whatever. Bye. Love you. Thank you for watching the video, and goodbye. I'm a motherfucker.